Well, YouTube, today I've got the 2020 Chevy Duramax in the garage. I'm going to go ahead and actually show you guys how to change the fuel filter on this thing. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to a different view and get this guy jacked up and show you where the fuel filter's at and show you how we go about changing it. So we're going to go ahead and just double check before we get this guy up here too far. Make sure that our lift points are okay. And they all look to be pretty decent. So we'll go ahead and finish jacking this guy up. All right, we are down on the locks for the hoist. Okay, had to add some light to this. Our fuel filter is actually right here next to the transfer case. So you can see it right here. There is a 25 plus 5 Newton meter cover torque made in the Czech Republic. So we're going to go ahead and grab the right wrench and get this thing pulled down and get it replaced. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. This is a 36 millimeter socket, or an open end wrench would also work, but socket's going to probably be the easiest. So we're going to go ahead and get that thing cracked loose. So I wanted to show you guys, basically there's the fuel filter again, and then directly below the fuel filter I've put a pan to be able to catch some of the fuel, because we will end up losing some fuel in this process. So starting to see the blue O-ring there. You can hear a little bit of fuel leaking. And now I got a little bit of fuel leaking out of the filter. So I'll go ahead and let that drain out. Of course, this will affect my fuel efficiency a little tiny bit, but oops, dropped the wrench. So overall, the filter probably does contain about a quart of fuel in it. There we go, even more. Got it cracked open a little bit better. So this is the first fuel filter change. I think I'm down to 13% on the fuel filter capacity, and I'll show you guys how to reset that also. Once I get this thing changed, it's the first fuel filter since the truck was new, and like I have said in my other videos, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at those, I've done a lot of towing with this. So I've actually burned a lot of fuel too, that means. And here we go. So I can say, compared to my other compared to my other diesels, this fuel filter actually is much cleaner than other ones that I've had with similar number of gallons of fuel, I guess is the way I believe that they're calculating the capacity. This is like super clean. So go ahead and take this over to the bench, pull out the new one from its case, or from its so this fuel filter is actually good for two different models. It's good for the 2-liter turbo diesel and also for the LM2 3-liter. So it's the same fuel filter that they used on the cruise diesels. So there we go. That is the used one. Grab one more towel here. Go ahead and reopen this. Confirm that it is the same. So they do start out white. But I've pulled ones out of like the 2.8 liter Duramax that I had in the Colorado, and that thing was pitch black. So overall, super happy with the fuel that I'm using. Go ahead and it takes a little bit of push that thing down on there. Do have a new O-ring that you should replace. The one thing that I didn't see is you do have the ability down here to drain out water using a star bit. You can actually back this guy out, and there is an extra O-ring that exists to be able to replace that one. Since I've never taken it out, I'm also not going to replace that this time. So go ahead and find a pick and pick out the old O-ring from this filter. See if I can find, is there a spot? There's a little spot here. Helps with grabbing it. Take this O-ring. You should replace the O-ring every single time. They do come with an extra O-ring, so no reason not to use it. Basically keep it from swelling, keep it from cracking, keep it from whatever, just to make sure that you don't have any fuel leaks on the truck. So there we go. Push nice down and hard on here. Not sure where this little bit of yellow paint came from. And O-ring's in its spot. So we're going to go ahead and take it back. Come back here. You can take a look up inside there. I'll go ahead and screw this bad boy back on. Grab our wrench. All right, so that's tight, but we do want to go in. There's actually a metal bracket here that actually protects this. That's pretty nice, actually. You don't have to worry about things coming up and hitting this. That's actually solid steel there. So, pretty darn happy overall. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll torque this down to the 25 Newton meters, and then we'll get in the truck and we'll reset the meter and also let it prime. you'll actually hear it, and I'll try to record some of that as it's priming, as it's getting the air out of the system. So we've just finished up with our fuel filter change. So basically I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on this button without actually pushing on the brake. So hold down this for, I think it's 5 seconds. And you hear the fuel pump running. Basically it's generating pressure. It's going to, you can now hear that it's actually pumping fuel. Should be getting all of the bubbles out of the system. So we're going to go ahead and flip up here to our fuel filter. We're going to hold this down to reset it. So I'm holding down the button on the steering wheel. And it is reset to 100%. So I'm actually not going to start it yet. What I really want to do is come back down here, turn it off one more time. You'll hear it going through and doing some like diagnostics checks on different valves and stuff in the engine and also in the brake system. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open the door and then close the door. It's yelling at me because I'm still in the vehicle. But I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing again and listen to see if there's any bubbles or how the fuel pump actually sounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sounds good to me. Basically sounds like we've got pressure in our fuel system. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down the brake, hit the button again to actually start the vehicle now. And I believe they recommend that you actually let the vehicle idle for a little while just to make sure that there are no bubbles in the fuel system. Because if you did happen to have a bubble in the fuel system and you decided to get out on the road, that there's a possibility that it could stall or stumble, and you definitely don't want to have that happen while you're driving. So there's our fuel filter change and how the process to go ahead and get the truck back up and running, and we're back up to 100% in our fuel life meter. So at least another 20,000 miles, or heck, a lot more, depending on whether you're doing a lot of towing or whether you're doing a lot of highway type driving. Want to thank everybody for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and then make sure you turn on the notification settings so that you get to see the other up and coming videos that I've got. So again, really appreciate it, all your support, and have a great day.